joining us now here on 105.3 The Fan is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He is an 8-time Pro Bowler, a 4-time All-Pro. He played 13 seasons for the Chicago Bears. And he's on courtesy the Invited Celebrity Classic presented by Choctaw Casinos and Resorts. It's Brian Urlacher here on 105.3 The Fan. And a good afternoon, sir. How the heck are you?
Great. Man, I forgot y'all won the World Series.
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Y'all were talking, I'm like, well, the Rangers, and it's awesome. Like, they beat the Diamondbacks here in Arizona. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Congrats. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. It is a special time here in DFW. Now, you are a fan of at least one DFW team, aren't you? Aren't you a pretty good Cowboys fan?
Yes, man. So disappointed again.
Yeah.
And it was the freaking Packers.
This is our year.
I mean, what the hell?
I know, of all things, man. You come at home loss. We don't lose at home. Because I'm a fan, so we. At home, like 8-0, 9-0 this year, scoring like 70 points a game, and then that happens in the playoffs. I was shocked. I was disappointed too, but there's always next year.
Yes, sir. Yes, we always do have that to comfort us at a time like this. Now, Brian, as a great middle linebacker, what did you think about the Cowboys' use of safety so much once they had injuries there at linebacker? They didn't have the depth to put actual linebackers out there. What do you think about that plan?
They're just decimated. It's hard to put a safety in the box versus the run. They're undersized. They don't know the fits as well. They do a good job when they're coming downhill, when they're playing free safety or strong safety, but it's hard to throw a safety in there on a run down or any down and expect them to get off a block from a lineman or even fit properly. So it's tough. They did what they had to do. They just got decimated on the defensive side of the football. Leighton went down, just bad injury. And then, obviously Diggs went down early. They had a pretty good player step up there. Deron Bland did a decent job there, though. Is he Defensive Player of the Year?
Ooh. Man, that's a close one right there.
He set an NFL record.
He did. He sure did. Yeah.
Yeah, because someone set the sack record a few years ago. They were like 6-10, but they got their thing because they set the sack record. So it should be the same way. And they were a good defense this year, so he should get it.
So, I mean, obviously Micah is also a finalist there, and we talked about this during the season with the Cowboys having issues and were thin at linebacker. What do you think he should be doing moving forward? Do you like him just rushing the passer all the time, or should they be playing him more off-ball, traditional linebacker?
It's hard to say because he can play anywhere, right? You can put him at stand-up, you can put him down lineman. I mean, he's such – it's hard to say. I mean, I think you can put him anywhere and he's going to do great, but I think the closer he is to the football, the more chances he has to get to the quarterback, the better off the defense is. I haven't seen him off the ball very much, so I don't know how, reacting like an outside backer or a middle linebacker, I'm not sure what he would do. But you're right, with the injuries they had this year, he might have been a bad option. But then you lose the pass rush ability he has from the line of scrimmage, so it's tough.
Hey, Brian, when you watch offenses in the NFL operate now, you played in an era, and not that too far removed from this, though. When you watch, how would you have prepared for some of these, like the Shanahan offenses and things like that, with so much crossers and tight end play and all that? How would Brian Urlacher prepared for that every week?
So I'm just going to go back to what I was taught under Coach Smith, and we play cover two probably a lot of the time. That way you pass off the crossers, and they have their adjustments too when they see zone coverage, but it just made it so much more simple for us when we played cover two. There were some weaknesses versus the run, but you're not swapping guys off. You're not checking. You're not seeing guys running wide open because guys aren't trying to swap off the man routes. They're not trying to pass them off, which we didn't do anyway. We just whoever you had. You didn't pass them off. You didn't cut them to a linebacker. You didn't cut him free to a safety. If you had the guy, he was your guy wherever he went. So you wouldn't see a lot of guys running free versus our defense. But I feel like cover two solves a lot of problems. I wish more teams would do it, especially in third and long. And they play cover. They play quarters, or they even play man in 3rd and 12 and long. I don't understand it. Cover two's always been a great defense for those situations.
Brian, you follow the Cowboys as you're talking about as a fan, though. You had to be impressed. You played with teams that turned over offenses quite a bit.
Peanut Tillman, baby.
Yeah, I mean, the mindset about that, was that something that was a training camp mindset, or was that you guys were just such badass players and you knew just to go for the football?
That was an all-the-time mindset, not just training camp. During season, if there was a ball on the ground, no matter if it was an incomplete pass, a fumble, it didn't matter. Our thing was make the refs make a call, right? So if you pick it up and start running with it, make them blow their whistle. Now with all the damn replays they have, they're going to get it right. I shouldn't say that. They're going to get it close to pretty right most of the time. But, it's always make them make a decision. But the mindset was to get the football. So once we had the tackle secured, and now you see guys just punching it no matter what, right? They're so good with the peanut punch. that they don't even secure the tackle. Let's go in there and punch it out. But our thing was, at least in my mindset, was get the tackle secured, and then here comes the posse to come get the ball out. That was our thing. And if the ball was on the ground, no matter if it was an incomplete pass, whatever, ball blown dead, we're picking it up and running with it.
Hey, Brian, I was a former NFL scout. I worked for the Packers, so I saw you. I remember when you came out of college at New Mexico. I've never seen a guy your size return punts. I mean, and that was one of the things when we were in the draft room and we're talking about you as a player, and the scout goes, "This guy returns punts too." I mean, you were kind of like the Micah Parsons of your time doing all these things.
Yeah. That's how bad we were. I was returning punts. How about
you were like a strong safety linebacker. No, I mean, you did everything. You did everything.
I returned kicks and punts in high school, so it wasn't that big of a deal for me to go back there and catch them. And I caught them and I ran straight forward. That was my move. I didn't, I think my longest return was like 48 yards my senior year. That's my junior year. I didn't return as many because we had a guy that could go back there and catch him. But yeah, I know I was pretty reliable catching the football, and then I just ran downhill. So, it's good ball possession and keep the ball. That was my goal. And the same way when I got a pick or something, I just try to get out of bounds or, not fumble. That was my thing.
Brian Urlacher with us here on The Fan. Okay, so who's the linebacker you watch now and you're most in awe of?
Micah. Micah's unbelievable. TJ Watt's the same way. But it's hard because they're rush guys, right? They didn't do what, they weren't off the ball, but you look at the two linebackers in Tampa, Devin White and Levante David. Those are good football players. The guy Warner in
San Francisco. Yeah,
he's pretty damn good as well. He had a good season. It's hard now because the game is so different. They want it's the smaller guys. It's 6 feet, 6'1", 225, 220 that can run, that play off the ball now because the game has changed so much. It's not as much of a running game as it used to be.
Brian, this might be a bit of a loaded question because when you're looking at these offenses now, and something that Dan Quinn's defense has struggled with was the motion offenses, and something that San Francisco does so well. The Lions do it really well with their running scheme. For you as a middle linebacker, having to read, react, diagnose, what are some of the challenges and the keys to having defensive success when you go up against those offenses?
Number one is know what your key is pre-snap. As long as your key doesn't change, all the other stuff is eye candy as far as I'm concerned. You see all these guys crossing the ball. So our key as a linebacker was either the fullback or the tailback. That was it. Wherever he goes, I go. The other stuff is all window dressing and whatever. It may affect the safeties, but for us, wherever that fullback stepped or wherever the tailback stepped, that's where we went. It didn't matter what all the other stuff was. Unless it was zone, we may have to change some gaps a little bit, but it was simple for us. It may be a little, even Miami. How about the stuff Miami does as well with all their motion?
Yeah.
I think it's a Shanahan thing as well. But, yeah, we just, know your key every play and read your key. I think that takes you to the football. And you get caught up in all, that's why they do it, right? To make you change your mindset or look at different things to get you off key. But if you know your key and read your key, you should be fine.
How much more confusing is that for a defender? Obviously what sets you apart is your awareness, your recognition, and then your physical greatness as well. But, for average guys, is it worth it to rep all of that extra motion for maybe a play or two a game where you trick the defenders?
Yeah, I think it's worth it. The problem is it happens so fast. You see McCaffrey one guy takes a false step on as a D end or even a safety not filling the gap, and he's creasing you in the middle of the field, right? So, and then you got the play action coming off of it. They got Kittle coming behind the play action. So I think you have to practice as much as you can. It's so hard this late in the season to get everything in because the guys are tired, number one. I know it's a big game, but you practice all season long. Your body's worn down. So I guess you just get more film study, but I do think it helps to practice it.
Hey, Brian, you followed legends in Chicago when Dick Butkus and then Mike Singletary and all that. And, you're one of the all-time greats to play in Chicago at that position. What was it like for you? And I'm sure you had interactions with those guys. Here in Dallas, they have the 88s. They kind of pass along that. Did Dick Butkus and Mike Singletary, did they pass along those Bear, tradition middle linebacker things to you?
So I met both of them my rookie year, and we lost Butkus last year. It was tough. He was. I was closer to him than I was to Mike. I just don't. Mike and I don't talk to him as much. And
sure.
Buckus was not scared to say what he was thinking. He was very, very open with his thoughts. He was a smart ass. I enjoyed being around him. He was fun. But when I played, it was kind of hard because the media compared me to them early on. My first, second year, I'm like, what are you guys doing? These dudes are in the Hall of Fame. I played 20 games, and you guys are putting me in their category. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to me either. So I got better at my career, but early on it was kind of awkward for me to kind of be mentioned in the same sentence as those two guys because I wasn't close to their status at that time. I feel better about it now, obviously, but back then it was kind of awkward, and I think coming from their point of view, it was probably kind of a slap in the face to them too. But who's this young kid? They're as good as we are. It wasn't fair to them, and at the same time, it wasn't fair to me either.
It's Brian Urlacher here with us in the fan. I'll keep that in mind when I'm talking with young superstars. Brian, thank you for that perspective.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it was not fair to either side, right? Because, I mean, they may remind you of somebody, but, man, those guys were pretty darn good before them.
Yes, sir. Okay, so some big names at the Invited Celebrity Classic, including our Tony Romo and Pudge Rodriguez and Albert Pujols, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz. Man, you got them all out there.
Some great golfers. I mean, obviously they're Hall of Famers of what they played professionally, but they're pretty darn good golfers. It's a fun event. We got the Champions Tour guys with us, some Hall of Famers from them as well. Good 3-day tournament there. But kind of stressful for us, quote-unquote, celebrities playing with crowds out there because they're never safe, but it's a good tournament.
I can definitely relate to that anxiety. See, I would just hit houses. You got to actually hit about hitting people.
Brian, are you in Arizona right now? Are you in Arizona? Is that where you're living?
Yes, Arizona.
So are you a desert mountain? Or you play all those courses out there?
No, I live down in the South Valley, which is a little bit quieter than Scottsdale area. I have played all those courses up there. But I'm a member at Mesa Country Club, Seville, which is an invited course as well. So used to be club court, now it's invited. But yeah, so I'm a member down here in the southern part, slumming it down here in the south.
What's your Super Bowl matchup?
Oh, man. I'm going with the underdogs, man. I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm going with the Lions.
Ooh, how weird does it seem the Lions in the championship game?
I know. I was not impressed, really, with the Niners won, but I wasn't impressed with their defense last week. I don't know. There's something about they didn't look the same, and then the Lions can score in bunches. I know their defense is probably their soft spot, but they can score in bunches. So I think I hope they surprise some people because I think they can do it. Mahomes. It's hard for me to bet against Mahomes. I know Lamar's the MVP and they're at home, but until someone beats Mahomes in the playoffs, I'm gonna ride with him.
I'm with you on that one. Here he is, Brian Urlacher, Hall of Famer, noted Cowboys fan as well. We salute you for coming on, and we'll invite you to this Rangers fanmanship if you want as well, because we're looking pretty dang good for this year too. Come aboard.
Are they good? They got everyone coming back?
Yeah,
we're running it back, Brian. We're going for back-to-back.
I'm a Braves guy. I grew up watching TBS in the summer and WGN with the Cubs, and I was kind of
there you go.
You just need an American League team. Rangers can be your team.
Well, no. Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, I'll do that. Well,
welcome aboard.
No problem. That's easy. Thank you.